Everyone.
Let's do it. Okay, we're recording.
Got it. Okay, well, right. So welcome to our Yin Yoga teacher training taster. I am Amy. I'm based in the UK. I've been a yoga teacher for 14 years now, experienced yoga teacher trainer, and I have a very established Yin Yoga training course, which I like to hook up with other people, with other skills, and add in some creative twists. So I'm really excited to be heading over to Switzerland in July this year and working with Claire and coming to Claire's beautiful studio. And what, Claire, you're throwing into the mix, you've got sophrology, is that right?
Yeah. Welcome to the studio. And we've got this structure here with the ropes. That's going to be the hammocks. We're going to have a play in the hammocks. So it's not a teacher training for aerial yoga, but we're going to definitely do some and have some fun. And yeah, I'm British and Swiss, and I'm looking forward to welcoming you to Switzerland to enjoy the Yin Yoga teacher training with Amy. And I'm going to throw in some sophrology, which will be yoga nidra style. So there's going to be some relaxing going on too.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. So it is a Yin Yoga teacher training course, but got to use Claire slings for a bit of fun. Claire's expertise in sophrology. So this short session now is a little bit of a combo between me and Claire. I'm going to be leading you through a short yin practice, about half an hour, summarizing those main principles of the practice. And then I'm going to be handing over to Claire to lead the relaxation and a short sophrology session. And we both hope that this gives you like a good sense of whether our course and Claire's studio is for you. Okay, so let's all come to just that comfortable seated position, whatever that might look like for you, cross-legged or kneeling. Generally speaking, there's quite a few props in Yin Yoga, so Claire's got up there and grabbing her props. If you haven't got any props, don't worry. Useful props is a bolster, couple of blocks, cushions. But if you're practicing at home, 2 bedroom pillows are the equivalent of a bolster. So just coming to that comfortable seat, use this short yin practice to introduce you into the principles of yin yoga. And also, they tell you the story of why I think everyone in the whole entire world needs yin yoga. So coming to this comfortable seat, just be aware of all the parts of your body that are in contact with the earth. And just lightly press down. As we lightly press down, feel that spine lengthen. Softening the gaze down to the tip of the nose or closing the eyes. Whatever feels comfortable for you, and just coming into the felt sense of your breath. So feeling into your inhalation and feeling into the exhalation. Allowing this gentle ebb and flow, rise and fall of your breath to bring you to this present moment. Leaving behind all that may still need to be done today, all that you may have already experienced today. So like I said in the intro, I've been a yoga teacher now for 14 years. Actually, prior to my life as a yoga teacher, I was a school teacher. So it's about 24, 25 years in education, training, or mentoring one way or another. Like so many of us in the practice of yoga, my practice was very, very physical. Vinyasa, Ashtanga, strong flowing practices. And very much that's what drew me when I first started teaching and first started running teacher training courses. And then I had my children. And my children are now a bit older, they're 9 and 12, but I had young kids. I was a full-time yoga teacher, and I also have the honour of living by the coast here in Cornwall in the UK, and I absolutely love surfing. As my kids were getting just that little bit older, 2, 3, I started to rediscover my love of surfing. but my shoulders were so tight. This is now late 30s. I had the tightest shoulders. It didn't seem to matter how many sun salutations I did, how much strong yoga I practiced. I just couldn't melt away this tension. To be honest, it was getting worse. It was starting to feel hard, surfing, everything felt hard. And someone suggested I tried yin yoga. And I was like, I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to sit still for 3 to 5 minutes. That sounds a bit boring. Anyway, I went along and the rest is history. I went along and yeah, did find at first, after all that yang physical activity, caring for toddlers and strong yoga practice and surfing, I did find the yin, the softer, quieter, slower style of practice a challenge, but my shoulders got better very quickly. And I soon adopted a regular yin practice, and it changed my life, my physical experience, and into my mental experience so much that as a teacher, as a trainer, the last 3 years, I've been teaching yin yoga every week online and training as many people who are willing to train with me. So as we bring those hands to the heart center space, into Anjali Mudra, this mudra is often called prayer mudra, but actually it's the gesture of the right and the left. The yang, the right side, masculine, action, active side. The yin side, the feminine, soft, passive side. So a reminder of these two energies that exist in our body. Human beings are just these little energy beings. And I really do think most people, particularly most of us over the age of 40, but that's not an exclusive figure, but most people need more yin in their lives. You and those that you teach and work with. So from that place, let's take 3 breaths, dropping the hands down, inhale, floating the arms up. Feel like you're scooping up all the energy that's around you. Exhale, drawing it back into the center. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, drawing in. One more breath. Inhaling. And an exhale. And then from here, we're going to come into our first yin shape. So actually, just undo the cross of the legs for a moment and take the legs as wide as it's comfortable for you. I'm sat onto something a bit like Claire is. I like yin yoga because you can practice in socks. Claire, I hope you're noticing that I've got leopard print socks and leopard print leggings. I made a real effort here to coordinate, to take a few circles with the knees and with the ankles. Like most styles of yoga, you can't wear your socks, but yin yoga, you can wear your socks. So just moving through the joints for just one moment. And then we're going to come into our first yin shape, which is butterfly. So we bring the soles of the feet together. It's a wide-legged butterfly. So if you're very familiar with practicing yoga, you'll be more familiar with a shape called Baddha Konasana, where we bring the soles of the feet in quite wide. Here, just take those feet a little bit wider. And if you have any issues with the knees, or they just feel like they would like a bit of support, feel free to use anything under those knees. I definitely like a little bit of support into my knees. Bringing the hands either side of the pelvis. Just once again, press down to rise up through the base of the pelvis and the fingertips. So you feel that length through the spine. And then walking your hands forward, we're going to come to this first place of resistance where you feel those stretching sensations. Target area here in butterfly is into the inner groin, lower back, but that's not to say you won't feel it elsewhere. Taking another inhale, breathing into those sensations, and then exhale, allow the back to round. You may find the head comes to the feet. You may find the head is dangling in space. You may like the head dangling in space, or you might like to grab something like a bolster, particularly if you're quite high up, and put your head on a bolster. whatever works for you. It's going to be here for 3 minutes. So in terms of how you practice yin yoga, there are some traditional shapes. There's not that many. I have a yin yoga asana manual, which is part of this course, and it contains 21 yin shapes. There are a couple of extra, but it's not many shapes, many asanas, many postures in yin yoga. There doesn't need to be. The idea of yin is a quieter, simpler, softer practice where we hold these shapes, these asanas, for around 3 to 5 minutes. We are looking generally for a passive stretch, so stretching with relaxed muscles. That doesn't necessarily suit every body type, and that does mean lots of people, including myself, find props a useful, supportive addition. The idea being with these longer static holds that we're able to reach into the deeper tissues of the body. I think it's more that when I practice a style of yoga like Ashtanga yoga, or go for a run, or go for a surf, there's a lot of elastic, dynamic movement in that type of movement. So my tissues, my fascia, my muscles need to be responsive. But that's not the only role of muscles. And when we hold for some time, hold into these static stretches, we allow our movement to reach into the deeper layers, into the tissues that are just a bit slower to respond, into the tissues that have a deeper frequency. I mean, it is said yin yoga targets the fascia, targets the ligaments and tendons. Got 1 more minute left in this shape. Along with a deep passion for yin yoga, I have a massive passion for human body, what it truly means to be human, both in terms of energy and physical reality and fascia. And for my extensive fascial studies, I mean, I know that where one muscle ends and another one begins is all just integrated. It's all just, we create the separation. Ligament, tendons are just different architecture of the fascia. So it's not that yin targets into ligaments and tendons and deeper fascia. It targets the fabric of our body, the tissues of our body, all the tissues of our body that just need a bit more time, that are of this yin energy, not this yang energy. Let's take 1 more breath here. And then moving slowly, because it's yin yoga anyway, bring the torso back up, bring the spine back into length. Use your hands on your knees to bring those knees back together. Now, in between each shape, we have something called a rebound. It could be a moment of stillness, or it could be a moment of movement, which is what I'm going to invite now, something called the windscreen wiper. So you bring your hands behind you, so you're able to lift the chest here, get a bit of a counterbalance, that forward butt bend, and then just windscreen wipe your legs from side to side. So just a nice bringing the hips back together after that deeper external rotation. And then our next yin shape is going to be caterpillar, which I will start by showing you side on. It's a forward seated bend. So you want to sit up onto something like a block or a cushion. Now, like I said, yin yoga, we are looking to passively stretch muscles, which after lots of like Ashtanga Vinyasa style practices was a big change for me. And one thing I've learned, because my knees are quite sensitive, they like a bit of support, I actually recommend everyone put something under those knees, like a rolled up blanket or a rolled up cushion, because we are looking to practice with relaxed muscles in that passive stretch. We're looking to just do things differently. It's not that this is a better way, it's just a different way. So finding those legs out in front of you with that support underneath the knee, bringing those hands either side of the pelvis. Again, just find a little bit of space. Don't want to move from a place of space. Then walking those hands forward, we'll find that first place of resistance. Feeling those stretching sensations. Like that moment of checking in. How does this feel? Taking an inhale, taking exhale, and allowing yourself to come forward, maybe rounding into that back. Yin yoga, we're okay with back rounding. What matters is though we still have space for breath. And again, you might be happy with things hanging in space here, or you might be like, oh, I think I'd like a bolster to rest my head on. So the principles of the practice are to come into the shape, to hold for some time, traditionally 3 to 5 minutes. Our holds tonight will all be 3 minutes or thereabouts. And then resolve to be still. And for us to resolve to be still in that period of time, we need to cultivate an awareness of the edge. The edge is this place where you're like, okay, I can feel this stretch, but I can stay here. I'm not fighting against it. I can soften and relax into it. And you'll notice in Yin Yoga, we're not using Sanskrit. In fact, caterpillar is a new name for this forward seated bend, formerly known as Paschimottanasana. And that's a real intention of the practice. Real intention to do things differently, to have a different approach. Not a better approach, just a different approach. With that invitation to balance out those energies in our body. We're going to be here for 1 more minute. Just breathing into those rivers of sensation. You are always free to come out sooner if you prefer. The time that we experience in Yin Yoga, and it's time over intensity, that time gives us the opportunity to really notice and feel into our body, to have the opportunity to pay attention, and also have the opportunity to find the shape that's right for us. It's not about how far I come forward, whether I can touch my toes. It's about whether this is my edge and I can hold this shape for the 3 minutes, or whether I'm too far in and I need to back off. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. And then slowly use those hands to just bring yourself, first of all, the torso back into length, feeling that rebound, feeling that space in the spine. So it's just such a pleasure to just have the time to notice more. And then rebound this time. We're going to come into actually Shavasana. So if you like something under your knees, you can keep that little blanket under the knees and just use your hands to slowly guide you back down to lie on your back, really lying the spine forward now after those 2 forward flexions, 2 forward bends of the spine. And while we lie here in Shavasana, tap into the echo, tap into the memory of those 2 forward bends. When we hold these shapes for longer, as we do in Yin Yoga, it's like they retain a longer lasting impression on our body. Allow the spine to soften to the earth. You'll notice as well, Yin Yoga is a very low floor-based practice. There is 1 standing pose called dangle in Yin Yoga, and everything is about being on the floor, about being low to the ground, that earthy, yielding energy. So drawing the knees into the chest now, just give yourself a hug as you rock those knees from side to side here. We've done 2 forward bends. So we're going to roll onto our front now and take a back bend, a spinal extension. Again, it's another shape that if you practice a lot of yoga, you might be familiar with, called Cobra. The challenge with Cobra is finding that passive, comfortable shape with the right amount of load on the lower back. So start by bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders and just lightly spreading the hands. Relax your glutes and relax your core and just see how that feels. Although we're not collapsing completely here, although it's yin yoga, the 2 energies do actually not exist in isolation of each other. So do press into the elbows and lift the heart. I actually prefer to practice this shape with a bolster, or some of you might like a rolled up cushion. So I like to grab my bolster, could be a bit high for you, some of you, and bring my ribs under this bolster. This support, which is lifting the back, allows my glutes to be really soft and get really grippy in those glutes without realizing it. Allows my core to be relaxed, yet my back is supported. So just notice if that works for you. The last sort of challenge or place to pay attention to is the neck. So if I've got my neck dropped down too low, these tissues at the front of the throat get all squishy, get all squashed. If I'm throwing that head back, might make me feel like I'm into the back bend a bit deeper, but actually I'm struggling to talk and breathe. So just dropping the throat into the chin into the throat center space, and allow the gaze to just fall wherever the eyes are going. Feeling the head like an extension of the spine here. Back into the breath and back into checking on that felt sense of the edge. I think one of the misconceptions with yin yoga is it's easy or it's really relaxing, and absolutely in terms of relativity to perhaps an Ashtanga yoga class, it's definitely an easier class. It's definitely more relaxing, but it's not without stress. It's not without stress on the body. Be here for one more minute. We place useful stress on the tissues that help to promote regeneration, renewal of our fascia, which, as you may have already guessed, is one of my favorite topics along with yin yoga. And I actually studied fascial anatomy first. And then when I found yin yoga, I felt like I'd found a physical practice that was actually starting to directly target the fascia. And as we get older, we basically dry up, get a bit more brittle. And holding these deeper poses for longer periods of time help to promote the regeneration of fascia, the regeneration of fluid in our fascia, which I think is why my shoulders got better. Let's take one more breath here. And then our little camel pose here is just using your hands. We're going to push back into child's pose. So big toes together, knees as wide as you like. Head to the earth or forearm to the earth. Resting here for a moment into child's pose. So child's pose is a yin posture. We're not using it in that context at the moment. Using it more as that rebound moment, that reset. Can be considered a counter pose, but it's more about giving the body a moment of time, a moment of space to recalibrate, to take the information of the previous shape into the tissues, into the nervous system. Let's take 3 more breaths into the back of the body here. And then in your own time, there's no rush. Just swing back round onto our back and hug those knees into the chest. Might be nice, quite like a cushion for my head. So if that's you, feel free to grab that. And just drawing those knees into the chest again. We've taken our spine in forward flexion, forward bend, extension, the back bend. I'm going to finish with a little sequence that moves the spine for those other movements, the twist, the revolution, the rotation of the spine, and then the lateral flexion. So I'm going to start by coming into our twist. I am going to use the right and left here. We are going to drop our knees over to the right. So dropping the knees over to the right, out at hip height. You might like a block or bolster between the knees. And then your free arm, which is your left arm, can come into this cactus shape, if you like. And then your other free arm, because both arms are free, your right arm can rest on the top of that left leg or can rest on your belly. If it's feeling a bit tough in the legs, what I like about yin yoga is we have the opportunity, the time to have a play, change the angles. So what happens if I just take the knees slightly further away? I also actually prefer to rest my right hand on my belly and feel my breath. This easy supine twist, I actually like to call collapsanasana. I like to imagine I have collapsed in a good way, and I'm able to give the weight of my legs and the weight of my left arm to the earth. And actually, if I've arranged my limbs in a way where I'm not able to do that, then I would change the angles, because I'm lying on the earth here. And I want to give my limbs to the earth, allow gravity to do the work. Yin yoga is about a different use of our energy, not a better use, a different use. So I'm trying to get out of the way here, let my muscles be passive, arrange my body in a certain shape, and then let gravity do the work. I'm going to be here in this shape for 1 more minute. Directing your breath into those rivers of sensation. How often do we have time to feel that stretching sensation and follow where it's going in the body? Yin yoga gives us the opportunity to feel the parts that are like, hey, this is where I'm feeling the stretch the most. And then feel into those quieter places. We don't always notice when we're busy moving from here to there, when the yang cell shape from this shape to another shape. Taking 1 more breath here, and then returning to the center, and let your legs go straight. So we're going to come into that rebound shape of Shavasana. If leg straight bothers your lower back, let the knees be bent, that's fine. One of my favorite teachers of yin yoga is Bernie Clark. Done some training with Bernie, quite a few online classes with Bernie. He lives in Canada, in Vancouver, so different time zone. But I've done a lot of classes with Bernie. He's one of my favorite teachers, and he'll say, you're the one flying the plane, it's your body. As a teacher, I guide you. And I think yin yoga really gives the student the permission to take the time to find out what's right for them. So before we take the twist over to the other side, we're going to come into my all-time favorite shape, banana asana. So I'd like you to take your right leg over to your left side of the mat, and then use your left ankle to hook over that right ankle. So right ankle coming over to left and hook them over. Then take your left hand into the right wrist and take your torso over to the left as well. So the hands have come over to the left, the arms have come over to the left hand taking right wrist, legs have come over to the left, and I've got the deep lateral flexion, so side bend down the right side of my body. The main thing people need to just pay attention to here is how does that fit in the right shoulder, which is dangling in space, and that might feel good for you, might feel a bit strong. If it's a bit strong, you can pop something under it, although this is my favorite thing to say, you can soften your banana, you can soften the angles in your banana. It really was when I realized that yin yoga had the shape banana asana that I was like, this is the style of yoga for me. I mean, I love yoga. I love all types of yoga, practice yoga for many, many years. But certain schools, certain styles of yoga can get quite serious or quite attached to this being the way for everyone. And I think yin yoga has relatively new style, been around since about 1980s, but not really fully established as a style until the turn of the century. Yin yoga has looked to sort of like break free of that seriousness and this one rule for all, encourage more an individual felt sense-based practice. Let's take one more breath here, and then again rebound back to center, back to either shavasana, legs straight, or maybe you'd like to hug those knees into the chest. Almost if you just did what was right for your body. Let that lead, that instinct, that intuition lead. And then in your own time, we're going to be a banana over to the other side. So we're going to take the left foot now over to the right side of the mat and put our right ankle on top of that left foot. Right hand takes left wrist, and we're going over, banana-ing over to the right now. I love these side bends. I think in our everyday movement, we do lots of forward moving. Human beings are very forward focused. So we walk forward, we think about the future, we need to pick something up, we bend forward. Would be better if we squatted, but that's a topic for another day. And there's not so much side bend or back bend. You do actually see that mirrored in yin yoga. It's quite a few forward flexion, forward bends. More that type of movement than the side bend or the back bend, but they're still there. And when we move into these sideways, we find these sort of like corners of our body, these nooks and crannies that maybe we hadn't noticed before, or maybe we hadn't moved into for a while, and you're like, oh yeah, I need to stretch into there. Remember these longer static holds, passive static holds, starting to work into, starting to talk to tissues of our body that you just need a bit more time. We see the body is very separated, but that separation is being created by a knife. You know, the body is one muscle folded 600 times. The architecture of our fascia, the architecture of our tissue changes. Sometimes it needs to be a bit tougher. Sometimes it needs to be a bit more elastic. Some areas of the body, like the quads, need to be a bit more responsive, and others a bit slower, a bit more for endurance. Take one more breath here, and then coming back to center. I'm going to suggest this time we hug those knees into the chest, but if you are like, oh, I'm ready for Shavasana there, please go there. Hugging those knees into the chest. We'll take our last yin shape before I hand over to Claire. I'm going to take that twist over to the other side. So we are dropping the legs now over to the left. And they can come out at hip height, or you can change, you can soften the angle. I definitely like something between the pelvis, giving that pelvis that sense of space. And then the right hand is the arm that can come into that cactus shape. Top left arm can come to top of the right thigh or knee. Right, left hand or to belly, up to you. And then often the instruction in these twists is to turn the gaze away from the legs, and that might feel really good for the neck. Might be nicer to just take the gaze up to the ceiling here. Just breathing into those stretching sensations. Checking in. Am I able to be yin in my yin? Am I able to yield my body to the earth? Am I able to tap into that softer, feminine, intuitive, slower energy? Or am I resisting? Have I put my arm in an angle that isn't right for my arm? And those muscles in my body are starting to switch on in order to protect. So just check. Leg position, arm position allows you to yield the body to the earth as we prepare for one more minute. I think there's like stereotyping massively here. There are two types of people that practice yin yoga. They're the people like me, that I like to call myself a recovering yangster. I had dismissed yin yoga as boring, something I couldn't do. Like, I look back at myself 8-9 years ago and it makes me chuckle. And I have discovered yin yoga and now love it because it allows me to, carry on surfing, to actually perform better in those yang type energies and movements that I want to do. And then there's the people who are like, you know what, I could do yin yoga all day, every day, and just marinate in these shapes. But we all still need a bit of yang. We all still need to at least go for a walk. Let's take one more breath here. And then drawing those knees into the chest, giving yourself a hug. Claire's been doing this practice with us. So Claire, I'm going to hand over to you now to lead our relaxation. I'm going to mute myself just so in case I start snoring.
Hello, that was beautiful. Thank you, Amy. I really, really needed that after busy teaching. So nice. Thank you. I loved all of it. So just to explain to you, I'm a yoga teacher. I'm also a qualified sophrologist and a TEDx speaker on sophrology and yoga, and I love mixing them both together. And I think they fit really well with yin yoga because it's all about being empowered and listening to yourself rather than someone else telling you what to do. So I'm going to share some yoga nidra and sophrology all mixed together with you now. So just get comfy, like you would shavasana. Sophrology we often do in a seat or with gentle movement, but we're going to do it shavasana, yoga nidra style. So get your neck set up, you like something around your head, on your feet. I'm going to sit, but you are all welcome to close your eyes. If you're comfortable to close your eyes, please do so. Make those last adjustments. Perhaps give your whole body a squeeze. So you squeeze your face, your hands, and your toes and release. Do that a couple more times. Make those last minute adjustments. Any moves that you need to make yourself that bit comfier. Starting to notice the noises from afar. The noises close at hand from the room you're in. And then the noises from your own body. Maybe your breathing, maybe your heartbeat. I'm going to speak in the I form so you hear I in your mind. Just become aware of my breath, going in and out. I'm not trying to change anything. And I begin to notice I'm breathing in for 4, I'm breathing out for 8. So breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now do what's right for you. So breathing in for 4, out for 8. Maybe you want to adjust to breathe in for 3 or out for 6. You can place your hands on your heart if you want. Breathing in for 4, breathing out. Now I notice my head. I notice all the muscles around my eyes, the muscles around my ears, my jaw. I notice the space between my top teeth and my bottom teeth. I notice my tongue, my scalp. Now moving down, I notice my neck, my shoulders. I notice the outside of my arms and the outside of my hands. Then I notice my palms and the inside of my arms, my upper chest and my upper back. All sensations are welcome. Everything is welcome here. Warm, cold, heavy, light. Now moving from my sternum to my navel, so my sternum to my belly button, that middle part, and everything that's inside. I'm just noticing warm, cold, tingling. And now moving from my navel to the tips of my toes, noticing everything in my legs, hips. All sensations are welcome, all feelings are welcome. Going back to my navel and feeling my whole body. I notice my whole body, the weight of my body, size of my body, temperature of my body, everything. I notice everything about my body. All sensations are welcome. Now I'm going to begin to bring the sun's energy, so the color yellow, into my body. And I can decide if I bring it in through my head or my toes. If I bring it in from my head, I'm going to see the yellow light, the perfect temperature for me, just right for me. The yellow is coming into my head and diffusing all the way throughout my body to my toes. And if I'm bringing the sunlight, the yellow energy in from my feet, I'm seeing it diffuse all the way up my legs. Or maybe I'm seeing something different. That yellow energy is coming in My cells are beginning to smile with this beautiful sun's energy. And as I breathe in, my cells are smiling, smiling. And as I breathe out, I'm smiling back at myself. Just taking a moment to see that yellow energy, that yellow color in my body. Now letting the color yellow, the sun's energy go. I just notice my own body, like an integration pause. I just notice how my body feels, where feels warm, where feels cold. I just find myself in the nature, somewhere I love to be in the nature. I bring in any smells that I like to smell, maybe the flowers. I bring in what I like to see, the blue sky or the green grass or the trees, or maybe it's someone I want to see there. Maybe I taste something, I bring my favorite food in, I can taste something. And I notice the space I take up. Now, what do I hear? Maybe the birds singing, something I the waves crashing. What do I like to hear? Just noticing with all my senses, even touch. Maybe I feel the ground. All my senses, I'm building up this beautiful place. It can be imaginary or real. I'm just going to take a minute here, knowing that I can come back to this beautiful place whenever I need. It's always there for me. So now letting go of my beautiful place, I can come back to anytime I want. Integration pause, just noticing how my body feels in this place after being in this place. Just noticing how my body is warm or cold, back to my body. All feelings are welcome. As I go back to where I started, I can place my hands on my heart and connect with my heart with the breath of breathing in for 4 and out for 8. Breathe in for 4 and out for 8, or adjust. Maybe you like to breathe in for 3 or out for 6. You choose, just connecting back with your heart. I connect back with my heart. As I notice the noise is far away, as I notice the noise in the room I'm in, as I notice the noises from my own body, like my breathing or my heartbeat. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm activating my capacity to have well-being now and in the future. I'm activating my capacity to learn and share knowledge now and in the future. And the third capacity I activate to be at peace now and in the future. When I'm ready, I start to move my toes and move my whole body. And I can write a few notes down if I want about how I feel or share with someone how I feel from this very shortened yoga nidra and sophrology practice. And there's so many things we can do with sophrology, so many practical exercises we can do in different ways. Today was just to have a nice relax. Thank you.
I'm enjoying that too much, Claire.
I do want to come back.
You don't want to come back. Oh, thank you, Claire. I so enjoyed doing this joint practice with you. It's made me so excited about our training.
I know, it's going to be beautiful. Lots of yin knowledge from you on the fascia and the body. Lots of lovely, lots of giggles in the swings. Lots of relaxing. Yeah.
I mean, the type of people that take my yin training courses, yes, they are yoga teachers, but they aren't just yoga teachers. I've trained Pilates teachers, massage therapists, fitness instructors, those coming from sort of like more yang based aerobic type exercises. People come more from the nidra, sound bath, that type of discipline. So really it's just like, it is a wonderful addition to any like established business that you have working with the human body. And also because the course is so practical, and it's such a nice practice, it's also just a great practice for you to immerse yourself in for the 4 days with me and Claire. So whether you're coming to train because you want to teach it, whether you want to incorporate into your existing offers, or whether you're like, you know what, I just would like to hang out with Amy and Claire for 4 days, do lots of yin yoga. I like the idea of hanging in some slings and hanging out with these two people. I know Claire and I are like, it is all welcome, and you are all welcome. And after this video, if you're thinking I'm up for it, fill out the application form, and we'll basically go from there and see you in July in Switzerland.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording here if you're ready, Amy.